In the early hours before dawn, on February 17, 1944, the waters around Truk Lagoon were perfectly still. No aircraft, no warning sirens, no sign of the storm that was coming. Aboard the Japanese destroyer Oite, sailors scanned the horizon for American carriers rumored to be approaching. But the danger did not come from the sky. It came from below. A faint tremor shivered through the hull. Then, a flash beneath the surface. A torpedo slammed into a nearby transport ship. The explosion ripped upward like a volcanic eruption, splitting steel as if it were paper. Men were thrown into the water before they even understood what had happened. There had been no sound before impact. No engine whine, no wings overhead, only silence, and then death. That was the terror of Operation Hailstone. Not just the bombers that turned Truk Lagoon into a furnace, but the submarines that sealed the exits, stalked fleeing ships, and ensured the fortress would become a graveyard. Because the untold truth is simple. Truk did not fall when the aircraft arrived. It fell when the sea beneath it turned into a hunting ground. Before the air strike, before the firestorms across the lagoon, before the battleships closed in, Truk Lagoon had been the beating heart of Japan's Central Pacific Empire. A natural fortress, the Japanese equivalent of Pearl Harbor. It held the combined fleet's forward headquarters, carriers, cruisers, battleships, repair docks, fuel depots, munitions stores, and airfields, capable of launching hundreds of fighters. To Japan, Truk was unsinkable, but there was a threat Japan could not see and therefore could not defend against. United States submarines had been suffocating the fortress for months. Fuel tankers headed for Truk vanished without distress calls. Ammunition ships were found broken in half. Transports carrying reinforcements never arrived. By late 1943, the fortress was already dying. Fuel reserves were dangerously low. Replacement aircraft were delayed or lost. Merchant ships refused to enter the region. Japan had fewer and fewer destroyers available to escort what was left. The US Navy called it the silent blockade. Japanese sailors called it the invisible death. The Japanese High Command did not understand that the fortress they trusted was hollowing out from beneath the surface. When American intelligence planned Operation Hailstone, they understood a crucial truth. Air power could break Truk, but submarines could bury it. In the days before the attack, US Task Force 58 assembled hundreds of carrier aircraft, but this was only half the plan. The darker half had already moved into position. Submarines formed a ring around every exit from Truk Lagoon. USS Skate took position near North Pass. USS Leon drifted silently near the western approaches. USS Sunfish, Tang, Tambor, Permit, and others covered the remaining escape routes. Every path was watched, every sound was catalogued, every vibration in the water meant a potential target. This was more than a blockade, it was a trap. Japanese commanders sensed danger, but not its source. They believed American carriers were coming. They feared an air attack, perhaps even an invasion. They had no idea that the ocean surrounding them had turned hostile. Urgent messages ordered key warships to evacuate. The combined fleet fled in early February, not because of incoming planes, but because their logistics ships were being slaughtered by submarines. In saving their battleships, Japan abandoned what truly mattered. Fuel, ammunition, supply ships, repair vessels, transports, and cargo carriers. These were exactly the kind of ships submarines destroyed with ease. When Task Force 58 appeared on the horizon, Truk Lagoon was already crippled. Survivors later described the unique terror submarines created. Against aircraft, you can hear them. Against ships, you can see them. Against submarines, you only know you're dead when the torpedo hits. Crews slept in their boots. Lookouts stared constantly at the wake behind their ships. Destroyer escorts zigzagged until men vomited from exhaustion. One sailor described a nighttime torpedo strike that killed half his crew. "We saw no enemy. We fired at nothing. The sea simply exploded beneath us." Inside American submarines, the fear was different but equally intense. Temperatures climbed above 95 degrees. Sweat dripped into wiring panels. Men whispered near the torpedo room. Every clang of metal could echo miles underwater. Depth charges slammed the hull like sledgehammers. Light bulbs shattered. Dust fell from overhead pipes like snow. Yet the crews endured. They stalked. They listened. They fired. Their silent work made the air assault possible. Most documentaries say American carriers destroyed Truk Lagoon. The deeper truth is that submarines made the victory inevitable. They starved Truk of fuel, crippled logistics, turned escape routes into kill zones, destroyed supply chains Japan could not replace, and ensured that when aircraft arrived, the fortress could not run, could not fight, and could not recover. At dawn on February 17th, the air attack began. Hellcats strafed runways. Dauntlesses dove almost vertically. Avengers launched torpedoes through calm lagoon water. The lagoon turned into a firestorm. But the deadliest attacks of Operation Hailstone did not happen inside the lagoon. They happened outside or along the submarine kill lines. USS Skate sank the cruiser Agano, which carried survivors from earlier battles. One torpedo broke the ship apart, killing hundreds. USS Celeon and Sunfish intercepted transports, trying to flee in the pre-dawn darkness. USS Tang crippled destroyers attempting rescue. USS Data and others finished off wounded ships, limping away from the air attack, driving them directly into submarine ambushes. Japanese survivors said, "We escaped the aircraft, but we did not escape the ocean." By the end of the second day, 39 ships were destroyed, roughly half by aircraft, a significant number by submarines sealing every exit. The fortress burned above the water, but it bled out beneath the waves. After the war, Jacques Cousteau dove into Truk Lagoon. He found hulls broken open exactly where torpedoes struck, ships split neatly in two, engine rooms ripped apart, and human remains still trapped where compartments imploded. Some of the most haunting wrecks were not even inside the lagoon, but outside, lying along the submarine ambush routes. These wrecks told a different story. Ships that ran, ships that tried to escape, ships that never stood a chance. For American submariners, the cost was also high. Many who fought at Truk never returned from later patrols. The submarine service suffered the highest casualty rate of any US branch in the Second World War. Their victory was enormous and paid for in silence. Operation Hailstone is often remembered as the day the US Navy returned Japan's Pearl Harbor in kind. A massive air assault, a shattering of naval pride, a decisive blow in the Pacific. But the deeper truth is more chilling. Pearl Harbor was loud. Hailstone's revenge was silent. The Japanese expected aircraft. They feared battleships. They prepared for invasion. But they never understood the enemy beneath them. The enemy that had already taken their fuel, their ships, their lifeline, their escape. Japan's Pearl Harbor did not fall because bombs fell from the sky. It fell because the sea around it had turned against them. Operation Hailstone was not only an air strike, It was a submarine execution, a fortress destroyed from above and buried from below.